Well, we are being joined right now by professor and former chair of the Pan-African Studies Department at Cal State LA. She's also the lead organizer for Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, and she is the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots Organizing. Dr. Melina Abdullah, good morning.
Good morning, Sister Dominique.
What a day. There's just so much going on in the right now, and we are at the same time looking back at 29 years since the civil unrest of Los Angeles. What are your reflections on that?
Lots of different things. One, the power of the people being in the streets created change then, and it creates change now. And so recognizing the moment that we're in is a moment that we can move forward. There's a lot of folks, even in the presidential address last night, there was conversation about going back to things as they were. And I think for Black people, it's always been about moving forward, not going backwards, right? And I loved what Sister Sahara was saying about looking back to move forward. Of course, we learn lessons from the past, but to struggle, it was uprising, right? And in this moment, we're also looking at uprising as a way to move us forward.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, that is the concept of Sankofa, which is looking back to move forward, not just to be nostalgic or to try to go back to when we were enslaved or had fewer rights.
Right.
And it's easy to look and see, the Andrew Brown Juniors, the Makayas, the Adam Toledos, the Dijon Kazis, and say, well, we haven't made any progress. But that's not the truth, is it?
No, that's absolutely not the truth. That we've made tremendous progress, right? Even last Tuesday when we won the verdict, when Derek Chauvin was convicted for the murder of George Floyd, right? You had a lot of folks who were organizers saying don't celebrate. But I think we have to celebrate that was a movement forward, right? And it happened because Black people, Black community said you will not continue to steal the lives of our people, and nothing happened, right? It happened because, we have that little warrior who we have to absolutely love and uplift, Darnella Frazier, who said that I know what police in the state will conspire to do, and they're stealing the life of a man who could be my father or my uncle or my brother or any of the men in my life. And so this 17-year-old child recorded that theft of life and made sure that George Floyd's life was valued. And that coming together, the store clerk who said, I should have paid the $20, right? The Donald Williams who said, yes, maybe all I could do was call him a bum. But yeah, I called him a bum. You heard me call him a bum. I called him a bum, right? We have to absolutely celebrate the will and determination and vision for freedom of our people. And that reflects in these victories, which are not the victory, but they are a victory. So we are moving forward, right? We're moving forward when we talk about, in Los Angeles, we are moving police out of traffic stops. We are moving police out of places like mental health responses. On my own campus at Cal State LA, the students at Cal State LA just got faculty to sign on to a resolution to remove police from campus and sever all ties, sever all contracts with law enforcement units. Those are steps forward. We're not winning the victory. We're not getting to, universal Black freedom in one fell swoop, but we are getting there. And if we don't celebrate each and every one of those steps forward, then we'll become demoralized. And we can't become demoralized. We have to celebrate every victory that we experience, and we have to keep fighting.
Yeah, it's well said. I think my dad used to talk about sometimes it feels like Sisyphus, like you're rolling a rock up the hill and then it's rolling back down on you, rolling it up the hill. And it can be overwhelming. And lots of folks like to call and with doom and gloom. But I try to remember that even 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, you're moving ahead. And we've seen tremendous progress. And I want to give you some flowers right now while we have you on the radio, because you have played a huge role in this. And I think we in LA kind of take you for granted. We see you everywhere at every protest and on every panel and at every rally. And Dr. Melina Abdullah, you've done amazing work. You have moved people. You have moved the needle on how people think, people's consciousness. I know that you're not alone. I mean, there are lots of powerful activists working. I want to give props to, Patrice Cullors and so many others. But I think here locally in LA, it's easy for us to take you for granted. And there have been a lot of attacks on BLM and on you. And I really think it's just one of those historical situations where when we look back, we'll all be saying how great you were. And I want to say it right now.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world, Sister Dominique, and I'm grateful for you as well. I think that we are a movement that is leaderful, and I'm grateful for the way that all of us contribute to this Black liberation struggle. And if it's okay that I share, well, I guess I'm sharing. So stop me if I shouldn't be. So this Sunday, we just had a really beautiful and powerful rally and march in the name of George Floyd, uplifting the fact that, one, yes, we're going to celebrate the verdict, but two, that if we really want to honor George Floyd, we have to transform this world, and we believe in the defunding of the police. We know that, we have a budget that the mayor proposed that increases LAPD funding, and we have to put dollars into other things. We have to pull those dollars out of an LAPD that has been shown in 3 separate reports to abuse and brutalize those who are standing up for justice. We have to remove resources from an LAPD that shoots 8 people in a span of 12 days. And I want to thank you for coming out and really grounding us, pouring libation with us, summoning the energy of your father and all of those freedom fighters who walked before us into the space, so that enabled, a powerful march and rally that concluded with a celebration not just of the life of those who have been stolen, not just honoring their spirits, but the lives of those who are with us, including the mother of John Horton, Miss Helen Jones, whose birthday it was that day. And so I'm grateful to you, and I'm grateful to everyone who pours everything that they have into the movement, whether it be, music or dance or, the ability to speak. This is a really beautiful movement that, as we talk about Black Lives Matter, we talk about it as originating in Los Angeles, just like the uprisings originated in Los Angeles. And we don't always share that as a story of LA, but it is a story of LA. And, from 1965 to 1992 to 2013 to this moment right now, Los Angeles is a place where transformative change takes place. So I'm grateful to for the flowers, and, want to make sure that we share the flowers with all of those who are invested in this work.
It's Radio Free 102.3 KJLH, Compton, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Inglewood. And I should have said to you first thing, Ramadan Mubarak. It is Ramadan. It was great to see all of those various faith leaders out in support of Black Lives Matter. You had everybody under the sun, every faith, and that was a beautiful thing to see. We've got folks calling in, Dr. Melina Abdullah, that have reflections on this day of 1992, and I've got questions for you. Boy, there's a lot of stories, a lot of situations going on that could use some clarity. I'm going to start off with DC calling us from the city of Carson. Good morning, DC.
Good morning. Yes, Jumbo. I just like to reflect when I, viewed the beating of Rodney King. I was in Texas on what is now Sandra Bland Boulevard, viewing the grainy pictures of that atrocity, and it just really, of course, was very scary. To be exact, and then to see the case unfold and the verdict of the officers, and it was a place where you wanted to see justice prevail, and I just we do see some improvement with I think the justice system with the verdict of him Chauvin being convicted. But we have to continue to be vigilant, because we know historically how things can appear that they're changing and then they change back. We don't want to we want to stay encouraged. But we have to stay vigilant.
There are numerous quotes about that. I think I read one yesterday from Coretta Scott King. There's so many different activists and scholars that have said, justice is something you have to earn for every generation. It's like sweeping your house. You don't get to sweep it once and say, oh, now it's clean. You have to keep sweeping it every day.
Continual struggle. And I just want to just ask one question, switching gears a little bit regarding the reparations in California. The whole idea about the reparations for blacks, and then it says especially for blacks of ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves. Can you make some clarifications on that, and I'll take your answer off the phone. Thank you.
Okay. Well, ADOS is not actually cited, as far as I know. He's talking about Dr. Shirley Weber's bill regarding reparations. It is basically a local version of H.R. 40. Is that fair, Dr. Melina Abdullah?
I think ADOS actually is a co-sponsor of the bill. So they did do work with, either they're a co-sponsor or an official supporter of the bill. I know that Shirley Weber did. Mm-hmm.
I knew that
she did work with them.
Mm-hmm. Were supportive of it, but I didn't think that they were actually mentioned in the. But in any case, the bill it's a study of, like H.R. 40. It's a study of what it would take and what it should be, right, as far as reparations go.
It's a study of, but then it actually goes a little bit further in making recommendations. So it's imperative that a strong panel of folks be assembled to be the folks who engage in the 1 year long study and make the recommendations, because those recommendations then can be followed up with actual implementation. So it's a little bit stronger than just a study bill, because it's also about recommendations. So it doesn't, its passage doesn't give us reparations, but it does move us down the road, and we want to express our gratitude. And I'm constantly overwhelmed by the leadership of Dr. Shirley Weber, who has been in the struggle for many, many years and was one of the early folks who began work around questions of reparations, both here in California and nationally.
And of course, now she's Secretary of State. If I'm not mistaken, I think H.R. 40 would also do recommendations, but of course that hasn't passed. It passed out of committee, which is the furthest it's ever gotten. But I think DC is right to trace that to 92, because if we look back to 92, I don't think most of us wouldn't have been able to imagine a 2021 where you would have the President of the United States being a white person who would endorse H.R. 40 because of our activism, not just because he woke up one day and said, oh, I think I'm going to endorse this. I don't think we would imagine a presidential debate where Black Lives Matter becomes an issue, I don't think we would imagine a time where we would really be seriously talking about taking police out of traffic stops, as they are now moving to do in the city of Berkeley. And that's because of the activism of people like you that are marching and that are organizing. And that is concrete change. You could also look at smaller changes. I always talk about how, back in 92, the police chief was a lifetime appointment, like the Supreme Court. Like now they have 5-year terms. That happened because of protests. I mean, it's just one small example.
That's right. Everything that moves us forward is powered by the people. So we need to think about people who for decades worked towards reparations, organizations like in Cobra. People think that ADOS is the first organization to talk about reparations, but we need to be talking about in Cobra. We need to be talking about people like Randall Robinson and others who put in work for many, many generations and decades to
Dr.
move
Charles
us forward.
Ogletree,
Yes, absolutely. People like Baba A.K. Akinyele Umoja, who again is right here from Compton, now, a national scholar, but has been working on reparations for many years. And so we're grateful for all of the struggle and remembering that it's those seeds that are planted that then take root and may not actually bear fruit for decades or even generations.
Going to go to Linda calling me from Houston. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. How are you, everybody?
Blessed. Welcome. What's up?
Blessed. Amen. Okay. So I'm 67 and I was in Los Angeles at the time. Actually, that's my hometown. And I'm a recovering crack head. And I was in Sybil Brand when the Rodney beating happened. And I remember the jails became overcrowded with the protesters and intermingled looters and people that were strung out on crack in our neighborhood in 92. So that was the time when we were, as God says, be still and know that I am God. So I was detained, so I got sober. And I was able to clear my mind, and a lot of people have started recovery right around that time. I was just thinking about it, and I was listening to Sahara Ali talk about transformation and, moving forward, but having to go through. It's just, to me, so similar to the Floyd situation, how the pandemic, and we had to be still because of the COVID, right? And so a more awareness was brought. I don't know if you guys are following me on this.
Yeah.
But
you're giving us
really
quite a snapshot of history, Linda. And you're still well. You've transformed yourself. You've taken care of yourself. You're healthy.
Oh, yes. I went back to school, started my own nonprofit, helped many young women recover. I have over 25 years sober right now.
Congratulations. So, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Thank
I mean, because it's like a symbol of our community, even your own, wellness. Linda? Okay, I guess she's gone. Dr. Abdullah, do you want to just comment on anything that Linda said?
Well, I think that any time there's a flashpoint, we have an opportunity to create change, both in community and in ourselves. And so, like you, I applaud Sister Linda for her own transformation. And I know that by bettering herself, by healing herself, she's able to serve as a better contributor to the world. So congratulations to you, Sister Linda, and thank you for sharing your story.
5:16 in the morning, we're talking with Dr. Melina Abdullah. We're reflecting back on 29 years since the civil unrest of 1992, and we are looking at where we are right now. I'd love to get your reaction to the Ahmaud Arbery news on yesterday, along with the case of Andrew Brown Jr. And let's talk about what's going on here locally in Los Angeles. LAPD says they need $67 million if they're going to stop smashing up protesters. We'll talk about that and more. Radio Free 102.3 KJLA.